Uppy Cheetah Cub, unlikely step-siblings, heartwarming bond. Imagine a friendship so unlikely it challenges everything we think about family. Meet Rozi, a cheetah cub, and Ziggy, a mixed-breed puppy, who are rewriting the rules of sibling bonds by becoming step-siblings despite being from completely different species. Their story shows us that connection and companionship can truly defy nature's usual boundaries. Rozi entered this world in late February at Western Plains Zoo in Dubbo, Australia. Under challenging circumstances, she was delivered by emergency cesarean section because her mother Siri went into labor ahead of schedule. Unfortunately, Siri never produced any milk to feed her newborn, and Rozi was critically ill during her first few weeks, which meant they had to keep mother and cub apart for Rozi's survival. To add to the heartbreak, Rozi's two siblings were stillborn, leaving her as the lone cub. This also meant she would likely spend the next 18 months alone, missing out on crucial social interactions. This isolation could severely limit her chances of thriving and eventually participating in the zoo's breeding program. Faced with this, the dedicated keepers at the zoo knew they needed a creative solution. The idea was to provide Rozi with a step-sibling, a companion to encourage healthy development and social skills, increasing her chances of a successful future. This isn't without precedent. Rozi's own mother had a dog companion years ago, and similar arrangements have been successful in the United States, where puppies were paired with cheetah cubs to great effect, according to Jordan Micklemore, a cheetah keeper at the Dubbo Zoo. But here's where it gets controversial. Why a dog and not a kitten or another animal? The answer lies in suitability. A domestic kitten wouldn't have the resilience or energy to keep up with a growing cheetah cub. Micklemore explains that dogs tend to be tougher, more energetic, and, importantly, closer in size to a cheetah cub. This makes them better playmates for a long period, helping Rozi develop the skills and behavior she needs. When Rozi and Ziggy were about 2 months old, their introduction was cautious but promising. Ziggy, a labrador-kelpie-collie mix donated by a local family, underwent careful quarantine and vaccination before meeting Rozi. Initially, Ziggy was kept on a lead, but within just 2 weeks, these two were frolicking and even sharing naps side by side. Micklemore notes that the pair's energy levels, their playful styles, and sizes align perfectly, creating a harmonious companionship. She affectionately describes Ziggy's puppy-like goofiness as matching Rozi's own playful nature. The dopey, light-hearted vibe fits her current life stage so well. But this unique bond won't last forever. Around 12 to 18 months old, female cheetahs naturally become solitary, seeking their own territory and independence. At that point, zookeepers expect Ziggy will need to be separated and possibly find a new home. However, Micklemore shares a heartwarming possibility that Ziggy might be adopted by the zoo staff themselves, which could allow the two to maintain their special relationship. Interestingly, zoos in the U.S. have observed that cheetahs and their adopted dog siblings sometimes stay close well into adulthood, which opens an exciting door for this unusual duo. Ziggy is even playfully described as an annoying big brother, a charming reminder of any sibling relationship we humans might recognize. Micklemore highlights the genuine joy Rozi shows whenever Ziggy returns to her area, signaling just how deep their bond has grown. Finally, there's hope that Ziggy will turn into a well-rounded dog, thanks to his extraordinary upbringing alongside a cheetah cub. This unconventional start to his life may give him skills and experiences unlike any other puppy. This story raises some fascinating questions. Should zoos consider more cross-species companionships to support animal development? Or does this blur important natural boundaries that should remain intact? What do you think about adopting a furry sibling from an entirely different species? Share your thoughts and join the debate, because this heartwarming yet unusual friendship may just challenge everything we thought we knew about family and nature. Cheetah Cub and puppy become unlikely best friends at Australian Zoo. Here's something that might shock you. One of nature's most ferocious predators is currently snuggling with a domestic dog at an Australian zoo. And experts say this unusual friendship could be the key to saving an entire species. When you think of unlikely animal friendships, a cheetah cub bonding with a puppy probably isn't the first thing that comes to mind. Yet at Taronga Western Plains Zoo Dubbo, this heartwarming yet scientifically strategic partnership is unfolding right before visitors' eyes. But here's where it gets controversial. Some critics question whether we're actually helping these wildcats or simply creating dependency on human intervention. The story begins with drama that would make any wildlife documentary producer weep. In February, veterinarians at the Australian Zoo found themselves racing against time when Siri, an expectant cheetah mother, went into dangerous premature labor. The emergency cesarean section that followed saved her life. But tragedy struck when Siri's body failed to produce the milk her newborn needed to survive. Little Rozi, her name meaning rose in Swahili, became an orphan before she could even open her eyes properly. Faced with a vulnerable cub who required round-the-clock intensive care, the zoo staff knew they had a critical decision to make. Months of medical treatment at the wildlife hospital meant Rozi couldn't return to her mother, leaving her without the crucial socialization that young cheetahs desperately need. That's when they turned to a strategy that sounds like pure Disney magic, but has actually been scientifically proven for over 3 decades. Enter Ziggy, a mixed-breed puppy with labrador-kelpie-collie genetics, who became Rozi's unlikely step-sibling when both animals were just over 2 months old. And this is the part most people miss. This isn't just a cute photo opportunity. It's a carefully orchestrated conservation effort that could determine whether Rozi grows up to contribute to her species' survival. The energy levels, playstyles, and physical size create an almost perfect match, explains Jordan Micklemore, one of the zoo's dedicated cheetah keepers. Ziggy's playful, somewhat goofy nature mirrors exactly what Rozi needs during this crucial developmental stage. The puppy's carefree attitude seems to unlock Rozi's natural confidence. Now here's a jaw-dropping fact that puts this friendship into perspective. Cheetahs are absolute speed demons, capable of accelerating from 0 to over 60 miles per hour in under 3 seconds. At peak performance, these spotted rockets can hit speeds exceeding 70 miles per hour during short bursts. Yet for all their incredible physical prowess, these cats are surprisingly social creatures who rely heavily on family bonds during their early development. But here's where the controversy really heats up. Is pairing wild animals with domestic dogs actually beneficial? Or are we creating artificial dependencies that don't exist in nature? The practice actually has deep roots in modern zoo management. San Diego Zoo pioneered this cross-species companionship program more than 30 years ago, and the results have been replicated worldwide with remarkable consistency. Interestingly enough, Rozi's own mother, Siri, was once in the exact same situation, having been raised alongside a retriever-mastiff mix named Iris during her own cubhood. The success stories are genuinely heartwarming. At Virginia's Metro Richmond Zoo, a cheetah cub named Kumbali formed an inseparable bond with Kago, a rescue puppy who became his constant companion. Zoo officials noted something fascinating. While this symbiotic relationship would never occur in wild settings, we've observed overwhelmingly positive outcomes that seem to outweigh potential drawbacks. As these two species mature together, they develop sibling-like bonds that appear almost unbreakable. The science behind this unusual pairing is actually quite sophisticated. During their first 12 to 18 months, female cheetah cubs typically remain with their mothers and siblings, engaging in play behaviors that teach essential social skills and environmental confidence. For breeding program participants, like Siri, this early socialization proved crucial when staff later introduced her to male cheetahs. Her confidence and social adaptability directly supported successful mating behaviors. Rozi is developing identical behavioral patterns with Ziggy that she would naturally exhibit with biological siblings, Micklemore elaborates. Essentially, Ziggy is fulfilling the role of a surrogate sibling, providing the social framework Rozi needs for healthy psychological development. But not just any dog can step into this demanding role. The selection process is surprisingly rigorous and specific. Linda Castaneda, who leads the Cat Ambassador program at Cincinnati Zoo Botanical Garden, emphasizes that size and temperament matching is absolutely critical. A Chihuahua would be completely inappropriate for this type of partnership, she points out. We need dogs that can physically match the growing cheetah while possessing the right personality traits. Even among larger breeds, finding the perfect canine candidate can be challenging. Alyssa Leslie, who manages outreach and cheetah programs at Dallas Zoo, explains that the ideal dog companion must be outgoing, confident, friendly, and naturally extroverted. We're looking for dogs that will encourage bold exploration rather than timid behavior, she notes. Ziggy apparently possesses all these qualities in abundance. He genuinely appears to be the perfect dog for this particular job. Micklemore confirms in the zoo's official statement. But here's the bittersweet reality that many visitors don't realize. These beautiful friendships are intentionally temporary. Female cheetahs naturally become solitary creatures around their first birthday, marking the end of their social dependency period. When Rozi reaches this developmental milestone, she and Ziggy will need to part ways. A zoo staff member will adopt Ziggy, giving him a loving permanent home, while Rozi will hopefully join the breeding program to help ensure her species' future. This brings us to the sobering context that makes Rozi's story so critically important. With only an estimated 6,500 wild cheetahs remaining across the globe, the world's fastest land mammal is officially classified as vulnerable to extinction. Habitat destruction, illegal poaching, and escalating human-wildlife conflicts threaten to push these magnificent cats toward oblivion. Taronga Western Plains Zoo Dubbo holds the distinction of being the first facility to successfully breed cheetahs in the Australasia region, making their conservation efforts particularly significant for the species' global survival strategy. Yet this raises some thought-provoking questions that deserve serious consideration. Are we truly preparing these cats for wild survival? Or are we creating animals that are too comfortable with human management? Is the dog pairing strategy actually building natural confidence? Or are we inadvertently teaching cheetahs to rely on interspecies relationships that simply don't exist in their natural habitat? What do you think? Does this innovative approach represent brilliant conservation science? Or are we potentially doing more harm than good by interfering with natural development patterns? Should zoos continue these cross-species programs, or should we focus exclusively on keeping cheetah families together? Share your thoughts and let's start a meaningful discussion about the future of wildlife conservation strategies. Cheetah cub and puppy become unlikely siblings. Imagine this, a cheetah cub and a puppy, not just playing together, but faktekisty becoming siblings. This heartwarming tale revolves around Rozi, a sprightly cheetah cub who has found an unlikely playmate in a puppy, forming an adorable bond that transcends their species. Dive into this captivating story. Unlock this and more by subscribing today. Imagine this, a cheetah cub and a puppy, not just playing together, but faktekisty becoming siblings. This heartwarming tale revolves around Rozi, a sprightly cheetah cub, who has found an unlikely playmate in a puppy, forming an adorable bond that transcends their species. Complete digital access just $4 for your first 4 weeks. Terms and conditions apply. Complete digital access just $4 for your first 4 weeks. Terms and conditions apply. 2. No long-term commitment. Access to unlimited articles on both app and web. Exclusive subscriber-only news emails. Already an app or digital edition user? To enhance your experience, dial 1-300-MY-NEWS 696-397. Complete digital access benefits. Complete digital access benefits. $4. $4 for an initial 4 weeks. Subsequently, $32 billed every 4 weeks. If for an initial 4 weeks, subsequently $32 billed every 4 weeks. No long-term commitment. Access to unlimited articles on both app and web. Exclusive subscriber-only news emails. Engage with games, puzzles. Digital replica of today's paper. In-depth Supercoach Plus stats analysis during gameplay. Video news, including the 5 p.m. bulletin on DTTV through the app. Complete digital access 12-month subscription. Benefits. Complete digital access 12-month subscription. Benefits. $6 per week. $6 per week for the initial 12 months. $24 charged every 4 weeks. Minimum cost $312. Following the first year, $24 charged every 4 weeks. For the initial 12 months. $24 charged every 4 weeks. Minimum cost $312. Following the first year, $24 charged every 4 weeks. Oh, save by locking in. Access to unlimited articles on both app and web. Exclusive subscriber-only news emails. Engage with games puzzles. Digital replica of today's paper. In-depth Supercoach Plus stats analysis during gameplay. Video news, including the 5 p.m. bulletin on DTTV through the app. Pay now. Pay now. For payment details. Initial payment for 4 weeks. $4. Subsequent payments every 4 weeks processed approximately 5 days in advance. $32 total due today. Can interspecies bonds like Rozi and her puppy sibling truly thrive in the long term? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below.